What's up, my cronies, and welcome back to my Star Fox Let's Play. This is episode 5, and in this episode we will be starting the third path, the difficult path, the hardest path that the game offers us. And we're going to work on wrapping this thing up. Apparently we're crazy, because only madmen would take path 3 according to General Pepper. But hey, we gotta do what we gotta do. So now for the third and final time we sit through this scene. Now, somebody in the last episode I uploaded commented saying that, finally revealing to me what that voice says. It says, incoming enemy fighters, prepare for launch. It always just sounded like gibberish to me, every time. And, you know, it still kind of does. Anyway, we launch out into Corneria, and I noticed that it's kind of different from the last time we were here. Can't quite place it, but there's something just a little bit different. Obviously, it's the red sky. You know what they say, the old saying, red sky at night, Star Fox delight. Red sky in the morning, Andros take warning. Nah, that's not what they said at all, but it's what I just said. So anyway, the first level is once again Corneria, but for some reason the sky is red. No idea why. And once again, you fly under the arches at the beginning and hopefully get the double laser. I did not, because I'm terrible. But yeah, maybe the sky's red because this is the hard path. It's hardcore, and we're gonna play till we sweat, and we're gonna sweat till we bleed, or something like that. I don't know. Never really understood why. This was also my least played path as a kid. I preferred to play the easy and the medium difficulty settings. Also, I guess I just wasn't that great at games as a kid and thought this one was too hard. And granted, some of the levels are quite difficult and longer than the other paths. That's no excuse. Either way, I'm playing through it now, and it should all be good. Kinda don't really have much to say because we've seen Corneria for now. This is the third time, and I mean, aside from just generally more enemies, the harder difficulty you play on, it's still relatively the same stage. At least it still has the awesome music that we can all enjoy. Now, Falco mentions the attack carrier, which was the boss of Corneria in the first and second paths, the easy and the medium. But coming up here in a second, I believe, shortly after the midway point, you see some of those robots that carry things around, but they're carrying what appear to be parts of the attack carrier, the boss that we've seen the past few times. Which obviously goes to show that they actually have a different boss for the third Corneria, which they do. Now this part I will say, you're going to want to fly as low as you can to avoid all the falling things, because if you're flying pretty much not at the bottom, you will take damage, as you kind of saw for like the third set of falling things. Anyway, this is the new boss for Corneria, for the hard path. This is the Destructor tank, and it's going to be annoying to fight with only one laser. But I don't know why I used a bomb there, but the way this boss works is the 3 things that are floating in the air will turn to face you, and when they do, you shoot them. Once it's exploded and gone, you can then shoot the thing below it, which is shooting plasma. Now, you can shoot them before you destroy the thing above them, but when the things land back on the tank and then fly back up, they will have rebuilt the things that are sitting on the tank, actually. Don't really know what you call them. But when it's down to its last one, it kind of shoots the floating thing at you, and you have to do your best to avoid it. And then finally it explodes, you kill the last thing. Or you don't kill the last thing because it turns around and makes it to where you can't shoot it, and then you finally kill it. 1 level down, 6 more to go. That's right, that's also something I should probably mention, is that the hard path, rather than having 6 levels, has 7 levels, which you probably noticed it has 1 extra one on the map, but yes, it has 5 levels and then 2 Venom levels, whereas all the other paths have 4 levels and then 2 Venom levels. And Venom's still pretty much the same. There's 1 level that's out in space and 1 level closer to the surface. And then you fight Andross. Anyway, moving on to the Asteroid Field, which was also the 2nd level of the easy path. This level's not too hard, but it's no 2nd level of the easy path either. Yes, we can, General Pepper. We can definitely do it. So while this level is also an asteroid field, I noticed that it has quite a bit less asteroids than the easy path. More enemy ships, but less asteroids in general. Now, I think I mentioned in the first episode of this Let's Play that there's a few hidden levels in this game. And I know I mentioned the black hole in the first asteroid field, but you can access the other hidden level, which is called Out of This Dimension, from this level. The way to do it, which I will show in a later video, but I'll just tell you here, is see that 2nd large meteor off to the right? You'd basically shoot that a bunch of times, and you would actually destroy it, and then a thing comes out, which you then fly into, and then you've accessed the weird level. But once again, I will show this off in detail later, after I beat the hard path. So, while this level is a decent challenge, it's an alright level. There's not much to it. So you know what it's time for? It's time for random Star Fox trivia. When this game was released back in 1993, of course it was released as Star Fox in America, but in, let's see, I believe it was Europe and Australia, the game had a different title, and it was called Star Wing instead of Star Fox. This is because there was a game released in 1983 for the Atari that was also called Star Fox. Now, why wasn't this game called Star Wing here and other places? Well, in America, and I guess also Japan, because it was called Star Fox in Japan, but in these countries, the way the copyright laws worked or whatever, they didn't really have... I mean, I'm sure they had copyright, but I don't really know. Something weird about it to where they couldn't get the name for Europe and Australia, but they could for America and Japan. It meant that it had to have a different name. So it was released as Star Wing and Star Fox here. Then when Star Fox 64 came out, that game was, I believe, called Lilat Wars in Europe, and of course Star Fox 64 here in America. And I believe currently the Star Fox games are called Star Fox in Europe, but I'm not totally sure. I think they are, though. Those faces on those asteroids always creeped me out. It's just so weird looking. They kind of look like the troll face. I think I mentioned the troll face meteor in the first video, but here's where they actually are. Anyway, we've now come to the boss of the asteroid field, which is different than the boss of the easy mode asteroid field. This is the blade barrier, and once again, I'm not totally sure because I never really fought that boss in Star Fox 64, but I think this is at least somewhat similar to the boss of the asteroid field in Star Fox 64. Anyway, the boss is not that hard, but it takes quite a while to kill. As you saw, it has 6 sections surrounding it, which you can only really destroy one at a time, and then it shoots a weird triangle web beam thing. I think it's called a web attack in the credits. You know, when it says the name of the boss and the dimensions and its weapon of choice, I think it said web attack. Either way, Well, I avoided it there, but when it hits you and you're trapped in it, you basically do barrel rolls until you escape, just as General Pepper said before the level started. If you don't, then it comes towards you or pulls you in towards it or something like that and does a lot of damage. But it's not that hard of a boss. And as you can see, you can easily avoid the web attack. And once you kill the 6th partition, the level's over. Not sure if that thing can actually hurt you when it shoots off, but I figured I'd avoid it just because. And now we fly on, and all of a sudden in front of us, there's a planet. I don't know why it wasn't in front of us throughout the whole level. Because, I mean, some levels that are out in space, you see the next planet, but not until you beat the boss here. Now, the next planet is another one of my favorites. I know I said, I think Sector Y in the Medium Path video, I said was one of my favorite levels. That's because it was rather original and had some rather unique enemies in it. And so does this one. There are a few Andross spaceship enemies, whatever, in this level, of course. But for the most part, you see and fight against the natural flora and fauna of the planet Fortuna, which apparently Andross has taken over the creatures somehow. Whether it be mind control, whether it be political influence, who knows. Either way, these giant monsters are attacking you, and also some ships like you see following Slippy right now. But you see some cool stuff here, as you saw, like giant dragonflies and large flowers popping up right in front of you. The only annoying thing is that some of this stuff just appears rather suddenly. Like, you'd think it would appear like off in the distance, but it really only appears when it's like right up against you pretty much. Anyway, this planet Fortuna, though there was a planet called Fortuna in Star Fox 64, it wasn't this planet. That was actually supposed to be the planet Ficina. And Fortuna was not seen, I don't believe, until Star Fox Assault on the GameCube, which was a horrible game in my opinion. But yeah, there was like a translation error, and the level where you first fight Starwolf in Star Fox 64 is called Fortuna. It's not this planet. Now, this planet is very natural and has a lot of lush green wildlife. It's the other blue planet that isn't Corneria, basically, in the Lilac system. I believe in the manual for Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, they called this planet the Dinosaur Planet, because there's obviously some rather large creatures living here. But it's not the same dinosaur planet that was featured in the other Star Fox GameCube game, Star Fox Adventures, which I have not yet played. I kind of started it, but I bought it used last year from GameStop, and the disc doesn't really work. It works a little bit, but it's been freezing at the same part, so I'll get around to playing it eventually. But it's quite a different game from the other Star Fox games. Rather than flying around in your ship and shooting stuff, you're kind of walking around going through dungeons. People have compared it to Zelda in the past, and from what I've seen of the game so far, that's somewhat of an apt comparison. Is that Leviathan swimming around? I don't know. This level's cool. It has like, it's a pretty long level. It has 3 environments that you fly through. The first being a green field kind of thing with flowers sprouting up and stuff. This is an ocean, obviously, with all kinds of weird stuff jumping out at you and sea dragons coming up out of the sea. Now we're at the third one, which is another field, which is brown, not green, but still has kind of the same enemies and characteristics as the first one. And we should be coming close to the end of the level now that we're on the third stretch of level. You just gotta... Oh, finally, I get the third blaster. And I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little scratchy or deep or something like that. My voice hasn't been that great recently. Went out on a trip with some friends and kind of lost my voice a little bit. Definitely lost some of my range. But I must continue on. So now here's the boss, the Monarch Dodora. Not really exactly sure what a not Monarch Dodora is, what a plain Dodora is. I'm sure we saw a few in the level, but this is, I guess those are Dodoras. Anyway, I guess Andross took control of this poor leader of the Dodoras, and now it's attacking us relentlessly, and we have to stop it. So it attacks by kind of pooping out some eggs, which hatch, and other Dodoras come at us immediately upon hatching. What a horrible life. It's like you just are born, and then you get shot down from the sky. That's pretty terrible. Anyway, this boss, you kind of shoot it in the tail a little bit until it turns around, at which point you just shoot it in the face, and it kind of dies. Poor, poor guy. But you know, we must carry on, and carry on we shall. Now, I think I got 100% on the first level, and I think I saw 92% on the second level. Wow, that's horrible. That's worse than I've ever done on any other stage, I think. Dear God, that's bad. That's like a B-. I'm sorry for that. And I'm also sorry for this little hiccup in recording that kind of happened right there. As you can see, you didn't really have a lot of time to read what General Pepper was saying, but I think he said something along the lines of, just keep going on, Fox, you're almost there, etc. This is Sector Z, which is of course the sequel to Sectors X and Y, which we played on the medium path. And I think I'd go so far as to say this is the hardest level of the game. Or if it's not, it's definitely one of the hardest. Like many of the levels, this is a space level where Andross has been building a base, or wants to build a base or something, except this time the base has actually been built. So there is a lot of stuff we need to worry about. As you notice, there are rather transparent obstacles. They will still hurt us, just as if they were completely solid. You have to do some rather fancy flying in order to dodge absolutely everything. And I'm definitely going to do my best. Well, like I said, this is a very difficult level. Well, I mean, I said I am going to do my best, but I did do my best because this is kind of pre-recorded, but... So if there is any similar level to compare this to, I would once again compare it to one of the easy mode levels. I would compare it to the Space Armada, where we don't really see like a big fleet of ships or whatever, but there's just a lot of stuff built out here in space that we have to fly through and dodge, and don't really know what the purpose of all the loose spinning things are, except to cause us grief and turmoil. Now this shield right here I think is vitally important, because there's a part coming up which it's probably not impossible to dodge everything, and I mean I'm sure you can dodge everything, but I'll be damned if it's not incredibly difficult. Everything just kind of comes at you, and if you really don't have the shield, you're going to take a lot of damage. And you kind of need to hold on to the shield for as long as you possibly can, because you'll lose it almost immediately. See, I lost it in like 2 seconds after I got hit. I didn't even shoot that enemy and it saved Slippy somehow. Anyway, more stuff flying at us. I kind of tend to stay on the right side of the screen, and I guess I feel kind of safe there. I haven't taken too many hits so far, but Lord knows when I was recording this, I died a few times. but it's relatively short compared to the other levels on the hard path, though it is intense. And that intense music starts up again, and we have a sequence also similar to the Space Armada level, where we'll have to fly through some corridors and dodge some stuff, shoot a few things, and this one's definitely more difficult than that easy level. It's like a combination of all of the things we've seen so far in these sequences, including many well, at least at the beginning, where you had to go through flying vertically. It must be terrifying for a pilot to completely fly on your side. I would not enjoy it. Anyway, we've come to the end, and we see once again another somewhat recycled boss. This is the Atomic Base 2, which is very similar to the Atomic Base boss from the Space Armada level, except it has a bit more health, and well, in earlier recordings, failed recordings, I actually died a few times to this boss because I had trouble killing it in one go, and it would close back up and I'd have to do it again. And also I had random trouble hitting some of the spinning things on the side even at the beginning of the fight. But whatever, that's not important. All that's important is this video's over. So once again, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Tune in next time to see me finish up the hard path, and have a great day. Nice, 100%. Just the way I like it.